All right, everybody, welcome back one final time tonight here for the PCS Summer. We are rounding the corner here for our week number 6. But before we do that, I do want to take one more moment to thank our wonderful sponsor, CTBC Bank, always by our side. Now, Clement, here's the thing about CTBC Bank. They are not only Taiwan's top financial institution, they are also the sponsor of quite a banger team. We're going to get to see CFO on the Rift today. J-Team returns. We've got a J-Team Universe clash. And remember, J-Team, they've had a lot of games in hand, but they lost to CFO the last time these two teams met. And I do feel like they're going to be out for revenge.
Absolutely. And I will say that last time they played, they learned a valuable lesson, which is don't put Uniboy on Lissandra. They made that mistake. Uniboy is much more deserving of actually being a damage output carry right there. And after they changed that, I feel like J-Team found their footing. They found how they want to play the game. So I think there's a lot that has changed between these two. Between the previous matchup, you have Rock now solidified in the top side. You have Enso being a great support. And then Kongra is just, in another league, playing different champions. So I see a lot of upside in J-Team, and I personally believe J-Team's a little bit stronger right now than CFO.
Yeah, I think they're definitely surging. They seem to have bounced back really, really well. Had a very convincing victory against PSG to start us off today, and then we'll be bookending it again. Now, I wonder if Olivia can go 2 for 2 on pentakills, because that was one for the highlight reels for sure. But also, this team has just looked so solid start to finish, especially when they get the champions they prefer. You called out Enzo as potentially the best support in the league. Honestly, he's making a strong case for himself. That Nautilus play was disgusting. And to stand out on a roster like that is hard. Now, we will be looking at CTBC Flying Oyster. They are Rest, Gemini Mission, Atlan, and Shun is in at support. Now, this is because Koala has had to take a temporary leave of absence due to personal reasons, but Shun will be in, so we actually get to see both of our bot laners taken to the Rift. And hey, you know what? If Jidodo and Catchmill can do it, I think Shun can too.
Now, it's going to be interesting to see what they play, because usually when something like this happens, you have a very limited pool coming from the AD carry. It's typically going to be something like a Yuumi. Thresh is a champion that all the AD carriers love to play. So,
oh man, just go Senna. Let's go.
Oh, that's also a great answer. That's
an opportunity, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see actually with both bot laners playing what they end up doing. I mean, it could go like a Seraphine as well, but I think Senna very well could be the play.
It definitely could be. I would say overall, I think CTBC is most likely going to play towards their top side. I feel like that's the safer game plan in a situation like this, where you're just like, bot lane, you guys start figuring things out. Just don't die. We're going to get things done in the top side 3v3. And that's perfectly viable, because if I look across the roster, where I think CTBC has the biggest upside is definitely in the Rest versus Rock matchup.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that matchup, because that's going to be the one we are highlighting here today, as we should be shifting over in just a second. And I'm not getting his glasses all cleaned up. But yeah, Rest has definitely looked good. Rock has definitely been solid. And I think this head-to-head is going to be one that may very well determine our game.
The big thing here is I don't think Rock has a good answer to the Gnar that Rest can bring out. Rest, so far, I think that's his best champion. Believe 100% win rate on it so far. And Rest is also someone that can actually play both sides of the matchup with things a little bit further on. Camille, he's actually fine taking Gangplank into that one as well. So I think Rock is going to be slightly pinched here. I feel like he can't really let the Gnar go. And I expect J-Team to either just be willing to first pick it or actually just ban it out.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, right? You don't want to try and give away one of the better champions to your opposition. Yeah, and for CFO, I think it's always going to be a little interesting to see how they adapt to an unfortunate situation for them. But we are into picks and bans. Here we go. J-Team blue side. They'll ban out the Azir. They'll ban out the Poppy. Followed CFO. Yeah, they get rid of the Callista, so Lil V won't get another chance at that. And the Ahri up against Uniboy.
And that's kind of expected against Uniboy. Against CFO, everyone typically bans the Azir and then thinks about the Victor, which is quite strong in the hands of Mission here. But I feel like for J-Team, if I have the best mid jungle, I don't really care about the Victor all that much. I feel like I can let that go. And yes, they do ban the Gnar. That one was the big one. I don't think J-Team would be able to beat CFO if Rest got Gnar. That is just a big no-no. So I like this. They keep all the Sivir and the Zeres open. They get their pick.
Now, I might be getting a little ahead of myself, Clement, but as a bit of a playoff preview, you know, Mission is a player that has really loved himself some Syndra, and it has been a rough ride for the champion. But you know who's back on 12.14?
Who is?
Syndra.
Syndra's
back. So maybe CFO are going to be feeling pretty good about the playoffs. Now, that Senna Hover, after the Silas first pickup for Uniboy, I think it makes sense. Let's go. You can do it. You can pair it with Seraphine. You can pair it with Tom Kench.
You could even go further and get a Scion, something like that. But no.
What about Sivir Senna? Does that work? It's Senna Yumi.
Like
it's Senna Yumi. You were right. It's Sivir Yumi. Oh well. Okay. You know what? We've seen worse things.
Yeah, I feel like Yumi's fine. The cool question is who's actually going to be playing the AD carry.
Yeah, that is the great. They could just switch it around. They're just going to mess with our stats. All right, Zeri left open. This has been a much more common occurrence going forward.
Yep.
But it does mean that Lil V will be able to pick it up on the blue side. So some powerful pickups for the mid and bot side.
Good punish pick here on the Silas, and I also think it has a decent matchup against Talia, which is probably Mission's next go-to in terms of the champion priorities here. So good takeaway pick. It's kind of hard for Talia to survive the lane against Silas, especially when ganks are thrown into the mix here. So I feel like this Talia pick is a little bit dangerous. I would almost be more comfortable with a Galio here. But given Mission's preferences, they're probably still going to lock this in.
Yeah, you know, it is curious because he was such a big Galio player in the spring. I thought he'd jump at the opportunity to get back into it, but no, Talia does come through. It's kind of been overlooked today because there's been a lot of comps that have not really allowed it to thrive. So I think, call me wrong if I am there, but I think that's our first Talia today.
It is, and I feel like Talia is a champion where if you see more of her, the more you understand how to play around her. You can anticipate the wallings that she's going to do in tower dives and in objective fights. So it's definitely a champion pick that if she's gone from the meta and then she comes back, everyone kind of forgets what she does and she can find a lot of advantage. But the further you go in a patch, Talia usually, you've seen this actually in multiple patches where Talia already does sort of jump off a little bit afterwards. CFO, they probably have to ban some gap closing gankers from the mid lane. Again, Kongyue is, he has a lot of those actually. You know, like Kiana's there, Viego's there, Lee's in there. It's almost impossible to ban all of them. And they're going to settle on the Wukong and the Viego.
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense. The more comfortable and more likely played picks, even if Wukong has fallen off a bit. Kongyue is just such a dangerous player. You can't let him have something with huge pop-up potential, especially if it's really, really commonly played. So try and force him onto something he's maybe had a little less practice on. The Kiana maybe coming through. Honestly, I would love to see, like, they already got good setup. I'd love to see something that can do damage. Like, give me like a Kindred in this.
I think it has to be Lee Sin here, coming in onto this pick. Lee Sin on the hands of J-Team with this draft is a little bit too powerful. It's very easy for Lee Sin to stick onto the Sivir, but no, they're going to go with the Vi for all the cash potential in the world. That's interesting, but I feel like the early game's a little bit too weak from CFO. So we'll see.
I think this is going to be a little risky, but it's possible it'll work out here. J-Team, though, they have the drive. They want to get themselves as many wins on the board as possible, trying to cash back up with this win. They would kind of pull double duty by giving themselves 12 and giving CFO a loss. So, Gwen, that gets locked in for Rock. Speaking of champions that we haven't been able to see as much of today, and we get to see what Kongyue's pick is after this. Lee Sin up and available, and it is a classic.
I think Lee Sin just fits this comp too well. It's so easy to get ganks off of Talia. You know, technically it's possible for Talia to seismic shove a Q2, but yeah, it's too difficult to pull off, even for someone like Mission.
I was about to say, even for Mission, and okay.
I really think they needed the Lee Sin to stabilize the early game. Lee Sin can gank Sivir Yumi quite easily because Sivir, you know, it can't really run away. And for CFO, they've indexed super heavily into a pick comp. The problem about going with a pick comp is you actually need to be the ones to group up first. If that doesn't happen for you, then you don't get to pick anyone.
Yeah, you just get picked one by one. So the Camille does get finalized, and yeah, the pick comp is complete. A lot of mobility, a lot of run, a lot of single target lockdown. But the problem is there's a lot of threats on J Team, so they're gonna have to pick their targets very wisely.
I have to say I actually favor J Team's comp quite a bit here. They have a triple dive set up. They're going up against easy targets to take out, like the Talia and the Sivir, that are going to be low range, no mobility. And then you have this top lane matchup where Rest is not playing for a lane win. You know, the thing about Camille is that, yes, she can win this matchup, but if you think about the ultimates and the way they interact, then Gwen actually has the better duelist ultimate in most situations here. So I feel like CFO have drafted themselves a very narrow win condition, while on the other hand also giving themselves kind of a hole to dig out of, because they're not going to be able to triumph over the early game. Not the way I like to draft, I have to say.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I think the other, to add insult to injury, like when it comes to the late game, like J Team just have so much hyperscaling that it's going to be hard to get. So that narrow window, it does feel like it's going to be in the mid. It's going to be around roaming and pick, and if they can turn those into objectives, CFO have given themselves quite the challenge to try and surmount here, but they've been waiting all day to get this play. Let's see if they can do it. At least the color coordination is more or less there, but yeah, I would have loved the Lee Sin in Gemini's hands. It would have forced Kongye onto something a little different. We saw him play a Vi against PSG a few weeks ago. It did not work all that well. So CFO kind of gave away a fair bit in draft, and we do see the Yuumi in the hands of Atlan, which means Shun will be our AD carry. And I do think that makes a lot of sense. Shun is definitely the more pop-off player.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say that, you know, just looking at this comp here from CFO, I'm just trying to piece out what would be their best opportunity to strike at the opponent, and I'm really coming up blanks in a lot of times. I feel like unless CFO can use his composition to snowball a big early game team fight, they're going to slowly bleed out. That's going to be my prediction for the game. I think J Team has the far superior draft coming into this one. And taking a look at the roster here, and some of the summoners, we are going to get ghosts coming in from both sides. It's going to make it a lot harder to even catch that champion. And you also have the Glacial Augment. So once Enso gets the knock-up, then you have to walk through a 60% slow field to get onto the Sivir. All of that seems to make things quite difficult.
Oh, yeah. Now, here's the thing, too. J-Team have not been allowed Zeri this entire split. This is Lily's first go on the champion. And also, J-Team have not lost on blue side. I feel like everything's kind of pointing a certain direction here, Clement.
I definitely think it is. I'm not too surprised about that. I'll be honest, I feel like this patch and the next patch is kind of hard for Mission to deal with. Well, with Syndra back, things definitely change quite a bit. You know, Syndra was kind of...
That's the one silver lining, right?
Yeah. But the Victor picks, the Corki being out of the meta, definitely doesn't do Mission all that many favors.
Yeah, it could be a potential struggle there. So, you know, we'll see if he's able to adapt coming to playoffs. Right now, they're just fighting out for the pole position, setting the stakes. We do want to talk about where these teams are at, right? With so many squads sitting at like 12 wins, 13 wins. Deep Cross Gaming currently the first team to hit that 13-win threshold. J-Team could very well catch up, though, as they have a couple more games in hand, having not been able to play in week number 5. A win here would definitely be a big statement, as they would then be looking to close out their regular split with games against Impunity and Beyond. Although Beyond did look pretty good. Now, we'll talk about that a little bit later, because the gank is here at level 3, but they deny it the first blood. What a big play as Gemini turns it right around right now. Uniboy and Kongye did not know what hit him. Great response from CFO.
That was so nice from Gemini. He got the timing just right. Gemini, a long-time Lee Sin player. He definitely knew what was coming. Level 3 all-in, the perfect power spike for the Sylas. He predicts that is in the vicinity, and Flash stops onto Kongye. So that changes the calculus quite a bit. You know, once the Lee Sin doesn't get going pre-6, a Vi can start to take over.
Yeah, Kongye gonna get spotted as well here, and Really nice movement, relentless force coming through. You can see why the vibe value is there. We talk a lot about level 6 being the magic number for vibe players, but she does have other tools. Vault Breaker is a great gap close. You just have to wind it up, and can definitely duel with the best of them. So a reason why we're seeing this champion really come out a lot more in the meta.
Yeah, just absolutely critical play coming in here. The reason I was so worried about just going Vi and Talia was, you know, it's not really a 2v2 that it's easy to keep Talia alive in. But Gemini proved me wrong there. A great counter gank coming in from him.
Nice start. Protect the mission. I do think this is sort of a telegraph play to gank mission, because when teams have been able to beat CFO, it is because they just give mission a hard time and he tilts. True. It is a known fact. The protection is there, and I want to credit Gemini for doing a great job tracking. So far, we'll see what the rest of the other lanes do. It's always going to be a question mark when you have a substitution down in the bottom. So I'm curious to see Atlan's support. He's just playing Yuumi. Just gets to sit on top of his carry. Yuumi is just a fun champion if you don't want to have to press too many buttons.
Well, Conger's going to try to get the look at this from Gemini. He smells
already
blood.
Here.
He's out of sight. He's going to go back in.
All right. And the Vault Breaker comes through. They managed to find it. And the Seismic Shove denies Kongye the kill. Mission playing fast and loose. They will not get a kill this time, but they do turn about quite a lot of damage. And Gemini's just got the sixth sense about when Kongye is going to be there.
These Lee Sin players, they got plenty of premonitions. And Gemini's coming back again. He's not spotted here.
Oh, boy.
Could be in trouble.
Yeah, that vision's
Rest here,
denied
too.
by the control ward. Rest is here. Uniboy. Uniboy's got no flash. He's got the dash, the follow through, the Vault Breaker. Didn't even need that Seismic Shove. Gemini claims a well-earned kill for himself. CFO 2-0 in kills.
And this is going to spell trouble for the bot lane, because so far, Atlan and Shin have actually been able to shove here, and now mid jungle is unleashed from CFO. So, oof, J-Team, they're going to have to expend a lot of resources to make sure they can keep track of the mission. If that tower dive comes in and then you see the cease and desist, I don't see how Little V survives that one.
Oh yeah, Little V. It could be in trouble. I think you can't really dodge things out. He didn't opt for the cleanse. He's trying to play it a little bit more aggressive, get the move speed, try and match what the Sivir can do, but that could be trouble for him. So
we're seeing the game.
Maybe he just.
This is
yeah.
Third time's the charm, I guess.
Maybe. Also, Enzo on a roam though. I mean, they could maybe make a difference if they grab. But Mission's playing very safe. Xiao Tu, you got to be taking notes if you're watching this one, buddy, because this is how you play on no vision.
Yeah, you got to play with some friends here. Uniboy misses.
Okay, good dodge. Okay, that's the combo there. But Mission, they'll get the shove off. Follow through. Kongye gets it, but he's going to die from the last tower shot, and that's absolutely worth it.
That's completely fine for Mission. You know, he still gets his level 6. He didn't have to burn an extra flash for that one. This Lee Sin is in a bit of trouble. Lee Sin can do great engages, but it's very mechanically demanding, and it's definitely not as tanky as a champion just from the natural stack growth compared to the Vi here. So, oof, this early game gone awry just means that CFO can start going into that tower diving phase. Look at this bot lane. This is where I'm most worried about. You have a Mission with an extra summoner advantage, extra EXP advantage, extra flash advantage. CFO should be very willing to use this.
Yeah, things have gone really well for CFO in the early game here, as they maybe gave us a little bit of pause in the pick and ban, but the execution so far has been about as close to flawless as you can imagine. J-Team must be frustrated at the moment with their efforts yielding little results on trying to shut down Mission. And look at this, Gemini playing for the lane gank up against Rock. We haven't checked in topside in a while, and it is going to be a level advantage for Rest. Not only a solid player.
This is much more of a cover gank coming in from CFO's side. He's cleared out his bottom, and Rest is shoving in a big wave, so I feel like cover gank into... I don't really want to dive Rock here. I feel like diving a Gwen probably.
No,
not
it's
the
fair.
best
It's
idea.
safe. It's safe. You don't have to. You know, she's got the ignite. You can, you know, you trade 1-to-1. Also, Kongye is here, so let's see if Rest stays alive. He does get the tack sweep out, but the red smite's on him.
No flash.
Trying to hookshot away, follow through Kongye. That damage execution is huge. I don't think anyone was expecting it. Kongye getting a little bit respect back. And that's gonna open up Herald.
I'm surprised at how easy it was for him to actually just kill the top laner right there. No flash of breath, of course, and he just hookshot out of there, so he didn't have the ability. Just got there at a wrong time, probably should not have checked the rush.
Yeah, a little unfortunate that he just took his time about it as he'd already taken a little bit of damage in the trade from Rock. So J-Team finding little ways back into this one. They're not very far behind. 1,000 gold lead is not nothing, but
Going for bot.
they have been able to at least get some extra gold accelerating Kongye. Gemini starting off onto this dragon. 9 minutes, a little bit late on the dragon start. Enzo, see if he gets a ward out to spot it. No, he's just going to walk right by.
And it's a little bit unfortunate for Enzo. He actually wasn't needed for that Herald play. And in the meantime, Shun is going to be able to pick up 2 plates. And this is where things get dicey, because right now Uniboy can't follow into the bot side. You can see how worried JT are. Double pinks into the bot side around the tower here.
Rock gonna send some minions back this way. Level advantage on him this time around, and he's gonna be able to get a few plates for himself, at least one right now.
He had rest to hold on to his TP, walk straight back to lane here. He is probably gonna go for the Divine Sunderer build. Pretty standard stuff. In the meantime, Gemini. This is why Vi has been pretty viable.
Kempunk Chainsword, baby, let's go. Vi stands for viable, don't you know?
Yeah, I thought it stood for violence, but viable is good as well.
It stands for a lot of things, you know. Hey, look, Vi is famous now. You know, she's one of the stars of this hit TV show, Emmy nominated. I don't know if you heard of it. It's called Arcane.
I've heard of it. I'm wondering if Vi is missing a tooth. You know, I always get. I have a fear of losing my teeth, so I just feel like it. You know, at the fight at the end. Are probably not particularly important as we have a potential.
No, it's okay. It's okay. We have time for a little bit of dental talk as Gemini gets tagged by Kongye. Maybe we don't actually. And man, the follow through. Kongye certainly has the aggressive instinct, and talk about kicking a few teeth in.
A beautiful find waiting on the Q2 there as well to follow Gemini over the wall, forces him away. He's at half HP, but Gemini is going to do the unexpected and just turn around and come back for this one. I think, again, this is going to be a cover game. I don't see Rock really falling for this one. Yep.
Yeah. Rock playing nice and safe. I mean, we talked about these top laners really, honestly, world-class, both of them. Rock has definitely been very, very solid for J-Team. And Rest, I think, is very much a known quantity. In addition to being a great player, also the BM king of our league. Hasn't slammed any emotes today, though. So maybe he's taking a break.
Really nicely done by Rock here. He's just going back out of range. And oh, the 2-man.
Good double knockup. Kongye's not quite there yet, but here we go. That's going to be instantly the rush into the Spark Surge. Kongye with the execution. Shun immediately flashes back after having used his On the Hunt and Ghost. All of the tools popped to deny the second death. And woo, J-Team finding openings with Enzo.
Yeah, CFO a little bit too slow right there. I feel like they thought Kongye was still onto the top side, but he's already made his way there. Unnecessary face check for a CFO. They get the 2-man knockup onto the Yumi carry, and that's going to be a huge boon for this Zeri here. Already off to a good start, and out of nowhere, Kongye already at 3 kills.
You can never count this guy out. It doesn't matter how many times he fails the gank. Kongye will find a way to be relevant. Gore Drinker complete at 12 minutes. And would you look at that? The gold is just about even from that early deficit. Lilby is a little caught isolated. Oh, man, he's playing really around the edge. But Shun did not have the execution potential. No mana and no ult.
There is a big dive coming here. Let's see if Lilby can finish the TP. Most likely, yes. CFO starting to look for that roam, and I have to remind everyone, it's been 12 minutes into the game. We have not seen a single Weaver's Wall.
No, that is a bit weird. Mission, where are you at right now? Kongye gonna look for rest, hook shot, keep him safe.
Ooh,
the Q denial. Nope, goes back in for round 2. There we go, and Enzo, where the heck did he come from? Kongye's got kill number 4.
Oh, that was such a smart play. CFO actually took way too much time in the bot lane trying to get this tower dive down, and in the meantime, Enzo just leaves lane. He's like, well, it's a 4v2 anyway. We can't defend it. Might as well go top. So J-Team, out of nowhere, they claw back all of the advantages, and I just saw a cheeky smile there from Enzo.
Oh, yeah. Well, he knows that he's doing some work this game. That Alistair's coming up huge. Beauty Boy Is 1v3. There is going to be mission to even greater make the odds as he's got a little bit of time. Rock coming in. This is actually going to be turnaround as Enzo comes in for the second wind effort. CFO just didn't have the target prio for this, and the cavalry has arrived as J-Team move their way in. Gemini goes down, and that's going to be all she wrote for that dive down bot.
Beautiful play from Uniboy there. He gets the final chapter onto the Vi, sticks her after the season desist, and A is able to flash out of the seismic shove. Now Shun is in trouble.
Yeah, and so is Atlan at this point. They combo up and take down the 80 carry. Well, not just yet. He stayed alive for a few more seconds. Finally, will be able to fall. And Enzo takes in a couple extra tower shots. Mission doing some serious work with the seismic shoves into those threaded volleys. It ends up being a 1-4-1 off the back of that. But the tower is going to fall in the favor of J-Team. This will be first brick at about 14 minutes and 15 seconds. Looking for more. Yeah, Kongye is as well. And let's see if we can get the interrupt on. Kick already expended just to turn Gemini sideways. But fights are just so scrappy. They keep going back and forth.
That was kind of a cool play. A bit of an overreach for Kongye. It was good to look at, though. I think he wanted to kick Gemini out of the way and get the Q1, Q2. And then just realized, wait a minute, Mission's still way too healthy for this one. So, calls it quits, backs out. I feel like they're happy to trade away the tower and kills for this Hextech break. But it does give CFO a little bit of a window into a win condition here as they're looking at the potential Infernal Soul 10 minutes down the line. We're going to catch Uniboy with this beautiful play again. Final chapter, definitely the correct play into this one. He's able to interrupt and make it really difficult for Mission and Gemini to follow up. Flashes away from the seismic shove. Yes, the kill, and then party's on.
Meanwhile, Lovey just outplays Shun. That was 1v1. That was a straight up 1v1.
I feel like Shun was out of position, and he just decided on taking up the solo.
Yeah, that's what you call limit testing. Unfortunately, he found it. I want to see that replay.
Always good to know your limits, I guess.
Yeah, it's important. How else will you surpass them? Uh-oh, Rest. Well, he's got a hook shot. He's probably going to be fine, but they wanted to land the chains on. Uniboy not going to be able to do it. He does have the cease and desist, but not going to use it. Dive too deep. Another tower gets cut to ribbons by J-Team as they extend that gold lead. Let's take a look at what happened here. Shun.
Yeah, I think it was just out of position, and he figured out a little bit too late.
Yeah,
Hello.
Okay. It wasn't a 1v1. Enzo was there too. It's not entirely fair.
We did see the flash being expended by Little V, and Shun, wasn't really all that close to be honest. And you know, J-Team able to snag away a lot of.
Oh boy!
Oh, he touches out
for the finisher. Little V staying alive. How did that happen? Oh, how much health did he have?
Oh, that was sad to look at. And that's the power of Alistar. Alistar just is able to shut down these dive at you compositions so easily.
Alright, back to the safety of the turrets. And that's going to be the reset here. It's J-Team still looking at the lead.
And CFO, I think the most important thing for them is that they haven't been able to find a CFO. Like, none of these kills have actually came out of picking people. They've been counter ganks for CFO's side. So I'm looking at this map, and I don't think they have good chances to split up there. You have the solo lane advantage, I would say, still on the side of J-Team here. Camille is getting there onto the point, but not yet.
Camille's going to need some time. But I think the worry right now is that J-Team, they're happy to have time because they have the scaling on their side. Boy gets jumped in on. Rest is there with that tack sweep. Going to try and cut him down a little bit low, but Enzo going to cut off the cavalry as Gemini goes in, finds Little V on the cease and desist, but he will not cease, nor will he desist. As they go for the counter engage, looking for Rest right now. Needlework on into the Weather Mist, and well, Rest has really got nowhere to go even through the Hextech ultimatum. Rock is going to take him out of this, and the rock wall just crumbles on the opposite side. CFO will be able to claim that mid-outer as it's now 3-3 in Towers map fully open here.
Yeah, CFO again go for a pick, but if you look at the map, J-Team members actually arrived there first. We didn't see the Weaver's Wall come out early enough. It was a late cut, and Rest still died for it. And that's, I think, the problem with CFO's composition in general is that, you know, the Alistar is such a good counter to what they want to do. They were able to block the Vi Yuumi and just keep them out of joining onto the Uniboy kill in the top side. They get turned around, and then you have the Sivir and Talia just roaming aimlessly in the mid lane. So, I think they need to wait a little while longer for Camille to have a big enough lead where she can draw multiple members and then find the pick on the other side of the map where Camille isn't at.
CFO are going to have to exercise a little bit of patience here, and I think that is one thing they've struggled with a little bit. This is a team that just loves to roll over their opponents, and when they don't, I think you can tell they get a little bit antsy, right? You know, it's not just Mission that gets a little upset when things don't quite go the way he would like, and the rest of the team sometimes struggles with it. 19 minutes on the clock, though. It is a gold lead of just about 2,000 in favor of J-Team. Seismic shove onto the Unraveled Earth. Enzo is just going to shrug it off. Another thing that CFO are going to have to watch out for, though, apart from the time they need for their Camille to ramp up, is the fact that Lilvi has not died this game, sitting on those 2 items, has had that Cole early game to try and accelerate into the late, and I don't know, man, a Fed Zeri, that's definitely something you got to be concerned about. Uniboy going to find a rest, chasing him off the inner tower. CFO going to try and control the area around the Baron pit, but they maybe should be taking their sights down to the bottom side, as it's going to be Infernal Dragon in 10 seconds.
This is really smart play from J-Team. They're not trying to fight CFO where they have vision. So they see the Camille getting a lot of chip damage on top tower. They're like, this is fine. We're not going to overreact to this one. Nobody go face check into the Infernal side, into the Infernal blue buff here. We're just going to play the other side of the map, try to take their tower down, and they actually get more tower damage there.
Oh, Uniboy. He's just holding on 3 members right now, steals the cease and desist, and just says, you cannot pass. It's going to be the Gandalf for J-Team. It's on the clock. J-Team cutting down the Drake stack, too. I mean, CFO, that win condition, that gets a little harder now with this toll.
True, and, you know, J-Team, I think they're starting to take full control here. We're seeing the Gwen really power up. That was a 20-plus CS trade on the side of Rock as he went towards the bot lane tower there. They now have full control of the top side around Baron, which means CFO does have to face check into this one. I think CFO's best opportunity is to get these scattered wards. They have a lot of them on the red side, and hopefully find a pick.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult when J-Team are playing as well together as they have been. The vision coverage is good, though, and I think that's critical. As long as you can get wards and play team don't know about, that's going to be a difference maker.
Yeah, and
speaking of, Shadow Flame for the Gwen build, so side lane threat also going to be pretty tough, too, and in team fights.
A lot of damage going into the back line. You know, that's typically the more HP difference between you and the target that you're attacking. That means that Rock definitely looking for a mission or shouldn't kill right here. I think that's a pretty smart buy. It's more of a team fight centric buy for sure. But at this point, J-Team can't afford to go onto that route. We also have the Zhonya's ready for Uniboy, so a very aggressive build right here. CFO, they don't get any opportunity to come in here. I did want to point out the rest does have that TP, but all of those backline wards have now expired.
Yeah, not much they can do with it. And the TP advantage is in favor of J-Team, actually, because Mission's not on it currently with the spellbook. So, J-Team, you know they have every edge here, and the game just starts to get better and better for them for the most part. Rest's Camille has just not been able to get online in the way that they'd like it to, and he needs to turn that Tiamat into something a little bit bigger before they're really going to have that side lane impact. And unfortunately, he's completely outnumbered, so the inner tower will fall. And the threat is real of the counter dive. Uniboy stealing away the Hextech ultimatum.
Just moving across the map right now. CFO still trying to get something off. I feel like the way that CFO is going to play this is they're probably going to give up the next Infernal Drake and then try to set up vision on top side of the Baron. So the play here is J-Team most likely going to go for Infernal Drake. They're going to let them set up. They're going to make it look like, you know, some harass is being thrown there. But there's probably just going to be 1 or 2 members close to the bot side. The rest of the members are going to pretend like they're taking the Baron, and then they're going to force J-Team to walk in afterwards. I feel like that's the play. Enzo's unspotted, and Mission could be in danger here. Oh! Gets out. And
That was close. Sorry, you didn't lose me. I promise you
Okay.
didn't lose me this time, but I'm still there.
I was scared.
Alrighty. So we'll see if everything looks good going forward. But at the moment, CFO are still going to be looking for an opening, looking for something somewhere on the map, but they just need a little bit of time. They need to find those picks if possible.
I've just got word that I am going to be holding on for production for now, so we're going to get a bit of a solo cast. Time to sharpen up my play-by-play, and then still have a couple play-by-play games tomorrow. We will hear Pyra back when production says so. And now we have a potential catch coming in from CFO, but a lot of members of J-Team already there. 4 members there. CFO try to get the 5v4. They know that Silas is in the top side, so they're looking for that opportunity. But J-Team very cleverly playing close to their towers. They know that they still have 40 seconds, so they're going to wait until that last buy comes in before they finally venture out into the map. CFO just having no luck with the Weaver's Wall with the pick this game whatsoever. And now we are going to see if Shin can kind of survive this encounter, and he's going to be able to walk back. Now J-Team's fully grouped up, and this is the play I think CFO have to utilize is they can harass, they can pretend like they want to contest, but the real play should be around Baron. And there we go. We see the pings going down to the Baron pit. Unfortunately for them, J-Team already has a ping right there, so they're warding out. Let's see how many members they can get from J-Team to respond to this one. We actually see a full line of backs here from Gwen. Okay, no, they're actually just going to take the Drake. I think that's the safer play. J-Team, like me, understand that this is most likely a bluff onto the top side, and it's just to try and play for catches. So they're going to take their sweet time and taking down this Infernal Drake. CFO, in the meantime, they do get some consolation prizes. They set up the vision, but unfortunately for them, they're not clearing all of it out. There is still a I believe that's a blue trinket there in the Baron. So CFO are finally going to get it, but that was a little bit late. That was unfortunate for CFO. There was no real threat that J-Team was going to lose the Baron. And now with that opportunity gone, J-Team now move onto the map with their Infernal secured, with an extra back, and CFO lose a big opportunity to make plays happen. Great play by J-Team. I love the vision control here. I love the patience that they have. Gemini has to run in front of the cow. And we are going to get J-Team now on the flip side, looking to bait the Baron play. Enzo trying to deny Gemini here. Gemini still doesn't have vision of it. They're pinging it out. Rest most likely going to have to use a teleport here. He does have a lot of backline teleport, so maybe Rest can make something happen. Mission's going to check one brush. Sees Enzo. Oh, and Pyre's back.
Thank you for hanging on for
fight.
this one. We're into this, just into the fight now as the Baron is trying to go, but it's Gemini and Mission just comboing up. The Baron does go the way of J-Team, however, they have to get out.
Well, Shin's still firing away here. Rock is going to be the sacrificial lamb as we have only 2 members alive on the side of J-Team. Kongri and Little B walk out. I would say that's a great find for CFO there. You know, they get the kills they needed, big shutdowns across the board, especially onto Uniboy there. I think J-Team unfortunately overplayed their hands on the amount of members that were supposed to be on the top side of that Baron. In my view, it was probably enough for Gemini, for Enzo to be there, but they had the 2-man instead. And they also tried to engage on this one. I feel like this was a little bit ambitious. You know, sending 2 people to screen just for the Baron play, probably not the best idea here. If I'm CFO, I'm happy to know that I've been able to get a couple of big shutdowns right here, especially onto Silas. And we're going to take a good look on where those kills actually went. If they went on to Rest, that really changes a lot of the dynamics. He's going to be so far ahead in terms of the itemization, in terms of what he wants to do on the map as a split pusher. Unfortunately, only 1 kill.
All right. I think it was a false alarm before, but thank you for covering, Clement. I believe we are back and ready. Things have been pretty hectic in this game. Let's see if they stay that way. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And good play by play. You know, you've been flexing a lot lately. Extra practice.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunities, Pyra.
Yeah, well, you know, you could say it was me. You could say Gremlins wanted to have a little bit of fun with me, but you know, we've had just about everything today, and I think might as well toss that one in. But as things stand, right, J-Team getting those 2 Infernals, that's been huge. They themselves start to look to build a Drake stack. They have good late game potential. But let's see if Mission can change things here as they've cut off Uniboy, but he just goes right over the wall because he's Silas, and he does stuff like that.
Yeah, an interesting attempt here by Mission. I feel like he was just trying to buy time. So if you cut this full wave off, you basically cut 1 minute off of the Baron buff. Actually a pretty smart play now that I think about it, from Mission's advantage here. And every second you buy here is more time that Camille is going to get to that split pushing edge. I feel like at 3 items now, she should be pretty confident in taking down Rock into the top side. Both of them are running ignites here. And that just means that, you know, Rest is going to be able to demand attention. Mission spotted out, though.
Yeah, Spell Shield popped by Kongye with that Q. So with the Dragon being set up for the next minute, that's going to be pretty crucial. Both these teams will be looking to earn soul points at the very least. And you're right, Camille, buying time for her, that's definitely pretty big. 3 items, you're happy with where you're at the moment, and you can just keep moving forward. And you've not given any more kills over to Lil V. So while he was a pretty fed Zeri, it's meaning less and less if you can keep denying him. You'd love to get the kill, but just not feeding him, that's always a good start.
True, and we do have the Zeri going for the GA. GA has been a big item all throughout today because there's been so many of these Vi Uni compositions that aim to kill the backline right off the bat. Now with the stopwatch, it's going to be harder to do, so I'm trying to think of what is the correct target priority for CFO, and I'm coming up pretty empty. I think almost all the members here can survive burst damage coming in from the counter power. Now J-Team on a route to the third Infernal.
That was completely free. They didn't even contest it on the CFO side. Rest could be in some trouble himself as he was pushed down the side lanes, does get the hook shot over, but Enzo looking to come in for the big knockup play. The Weaver's Wall going to come a little bit late here. Rest does buy some time. The teleport coming through, and they're just going to look to try and finish the kills off on this one. Kongye flashing back, gets kicked into the side of the wall. Shut down gold for the Lee Sin. The rest of CFO coming a little bit late. Hextech ultimatum thrown away and used. Shut down. Now Lil V pocketing all that gold by taking Mission out of this fight. In the 5v3, the push, the siege, it's on. Enzo hopping through the wall. They're looking for more. Not done yet. They want it right here, right now. J-Team, I think they can do it here, Clement. As Jedi gets popped, they sweep away the rest of CFO, and they will charge into the base to end this game right here, right now, closing us out on day 2 of the final week of regular season play. J-Team wanted 2 wins on the board, and lo and behold, they will get them first against the Titans of the PCS, PSG Talent, and now against the J-Team sister team, CFO. J-Team improved now to another 12 wins.
They're now half a game ahead of CFO because they have 1 less loss here. That is absolutely amazing for J-Team. You know, they came in, they had this COVID situation. It looked like they were slow on the patch. Little V seems dumbstruck by the events that happened today. And in one day, the toughest day of their season, they take down both PSG and CFO, 2 teams they had not been able to take down before this.
Oh yeah, they're feeling pretty good about here. This is the last play of the game. Rest gets caught out, and everything snowballs from here. It looks like he might be getting away, but no. Tries to buy time, Mission comes in, but it's just the coordination. It was better for J-Team. We're seeing why this squad, they're peaking at the right time. Coming into playoffs, looking to catch back up. Yes, they've had an incredibly tough schedule because of the COVID situation, but now they find exactly what they need to. The execution is good. In the end, it's what counts, and yeah, they had 2 tough opponents today, and tomorrow they're going to have Impunity and Beyond Gaming, and I think they're going to have a little bit of an easier time for it. And Beyond, well, I do believe this win for J-Team locks them out of trying to contest for that 4th place seed.
Absolutely beautiful stuff from Uniboy. The last 2 Ducks landing onto Mission and then onto Shun closed the game out cleanly. I will say that was a bit of a mistake from Rest earlier on. I'm not sure why he was pushing up that far after he just saw the Infernal Drake go down. So that was a bit of head scratcher. I do toss that up to a bit of a mistake. I think CFO had some more game time to play now that the Camille was a viable side lane split pusher. But let's go back to the draft. First things first, I still think the Lee Sin was a far better option compared to the Vi there. I think it would have stabilized the early game a lot harder. To be fair, in this game, it did not actually matter because Gemini was able to outplay Kongyue on those first two ganks. However, the big mistake here in this game was just the 3 extra kills that CFO's bot lane gave over. Unfortunately, today they were not playing with their standard support. They got caught out, gave over a double kill, and then there was another tower dive where they bled another kill over to the side of J Team. So the draft, I think there could have been minor improvements. Vi Yuumi definitely still a very strong combination. I would say mainly it did come down to the fact just that, you know, unfortunately for CFO, they're not playing with the bot lane that they're usually playing with, and there were a number of mistakes that I would say 4 kills were completely unnecessary coming from Shun and Atlan. So
yeah,
that was what kind of doomed them.
And CFO do have to play up against PSG Talon tomorrow as well, so they're going to need to try and make some improvements fast. And either way, you know, this is a team that will be going into playoffs, that will be in the upper bracket. But I do think it's a little disappointing to see them stumble a bit here. Obviously, some situations out of their control, but we'll see if they can play a little bit cleaner. For J Team, this is fantastic. This is a team that's peaking at the time they need to. They're playing incredibly well, coming out of the gates, having, you know, recovered and gotten out of quarantine from COVID. And now they are looking at trying to close out on a 4-game win streak, and we'll see if they can do it. I mean, they've got Impunity, they've got Beyond Gaming have definitely been known to surprise, but we'll see if the wind's been taken a bit out of their sails. Now that they're going to have a harder time contesting for some of those top spots. I think J-Team, they just look incredibly good on these last couple of weeks of play.
Yeah, I'm so impressed by so many facets of this team. The main thing is just how reserved they actually are. That was the biggest problem, I think, in the early seasons, in the earliest part of the split, where you saw Kongyue actually do a lot of engages that were just kind of one-way trips and didn't lead to anything. This time around, you saw how measured J-Team actually was at playing the map. If they knew a catch was coming, they just stick underneath tower. Like, Uniboy didn't even walk out. He knew there was a 3-man right there, wasted tons of time coming in from the side of Gemini. And for a lot of these teams, I feel like they're looking at the Sivir, the new shiny hotness on the block, the Vi Yuumi, and they're oversimplifying how easy that comp is to play. I think the Alistar counters that comp a little too easily, and I wouldn't be surprised for teams in the future, if they want to play that, to just actually ban out the Alistar. Dealing with it's too tough.
I think they might need to. And also leaving this area open for a big playmaking AD carry. I mean, like, this is Lil V. This is the guy that got a pentakill against PSG earlier in the same day, and at the very end, the Zeri popped off. It was a great combination. I think everybody on the J Team roster is doing exactly what they need to in a given moment. This is a team that's so good at understanding the win conditions when they build a good comp for themselves. They had the dive, they had the scaling on their, and they just were having a lot of. There were a lot of opportunities for CFO that you saw a couple of them come to fruition, but they were really never able to do that much, and they never got the goal lead back after that 13-minute mark. So I think this is another example team just under opponents and what they need to do better.
And we can tell on the gold graph where this really started to happen. Actually, it was a very strong start coming in from the side of CFO. They won the 2v2 mid jungle, Talia Vi versus Silas Lee Sin. I think that's quite impressive. But the problem really happened when you saw the double kills start to go over into the bot side. That meant that Mission and Gemini, they didn't have a place to go to in terms of the Weaver's Wall and the tower games. And surprise, Kongyue with the Lee Sin. I told them in the draft, I said giving Kongyue Lee
There we
Sin
go.
was too strong early game. You have to snack that away. I know Vi's on the table, but just take the Lee Sin, please, CFO.
Yeah, and not just because it's so good early, but also because in the hands of someone like Kongyue, he was kept down in the mid lane a number of times. He comes back, he gets the play, he gets the execution up top onto rest, and all of a sudden this guy's off to the races. I think he was the first one to build his mythic item and everything. So Kongyue definitely a big difference maker, and we saw exactly why.
Yeah, the play where he just went top lane, solo killed Rest out of nowhere was so surprising. He was able to stick on Gemini multiple times, even when he was behind on the first item here. So you can never count this man out. And for one, I welcome the Lee Sins back into our game plans, because Lee Sin has a great time kicking people around like the Talia, like the Sivir.
Absolutely. Well, let's take a look at what happened. We had quite an action-packed day today, and it all began with an absolute banger between J-Team and PSG that ended in a Lil V pentakill. Frank Esports beat MFT, Deep Cross beat Dewish, Megabank Beyond Gaming beat Sem9, PSG righted the wrongs by taking down Impunity, and then J-Team capped it all off. 2-0 day, a very tough schedule, but they made it work for them. And look at where we're at in the standings. Deep Cross, PSG stand atop at 13-4 with a game to play, but J-Team are hot on their heels. They got 2, and they could very well be claiming that first seed. CFO half a game behind, as you mentioned. Frank Esports just another game after that, and Megabank Beyond Gaming at 10-7. I do not believe they will be able to catch up, but they still can be happy knowing they've done their best on the seeding game. Impunity and MFT more or less locked into their last 2 spots. And yeah, Dewish and Sem9, they're just going to be looking to play spoiler tomorrow.
There's a very high chance we're going to have tiebreakers.
Well, against each other, rather.
Yeah, there's a very high chance of tiebreakers to settle the final standings of the teams right here. But if we look at the front end of this one, I would say the most dangerous teams are actually, Frank Esports and J-Team. Those two are definitely going to be the shining ones in this one. So PSG have the best CTBC to hold on to their standings, while DCG have to take on Frank. Massive games tomorrow. J-Team, of course, a little bit expected to take down the win versus Impunity, but Beyond Gaming has always had that extra X factor when it comes to taking down top teams.
Yeah, I do think that last game is going to be very telling. Honestly, every single one of these games is going to have something fun to watch for it. Even Sem9 versus Dewish, that'll be a classic. Obviously, it's all for pride, but who's going to get that last win of their respective splits, their respective seasons? I think that'll be a fun one to watch at the very least. But excited to see where this all goes. I think for Impunity MFT, they're also looking for who's going to take the placement where it is, even if it may not make the biggest differences. But a lot of games to watch. 6 on the board. It has been a very, very packed week here in the PCS as we'll look to close out the regular split. And we'll have our playoffs all set after that, Clement, and it's all postseason after a week break.
Yeah, and tomorrow we can have 3 teams sitting at 14 wins apiece. So we could have a triangle and 2 tiebreakers to settle who actually gets the first seed.
Man, I can't wait to see it. We're gonna have to like end the stream at some point and then start it back up again to get ourselves into all the action tomorrow. They say esports never sleeps. I suppose we have to at some point. But all the same, I'm so excited. I cannot wait to see how the regular season ends, and we may even need to see those tiebreakers. Seems like a very, very likely scenario. But for that, we are done and dusted for day 2 of week 6. So thank you all so much for watching, sticking with us, and I hope you enjoyed the games. On behalf of myself, Clement, the whole broadcast team, and everybody behind the scenes, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.